Hey, welcome back again to Auto Transport Intel. I am Jay, I'm your host. I'm the car hauling dispatcher, and this is Tuesday Nights Live here on Auto Transport Intel. Let me get that window to close. Okay, so we're back for another show. It's crazy. I appreciate you coming back. This is live episode number 24. That's 24 Tuesday nights in a row. And this show is filing on a broker's bond. We know that sometimes it's hard to get paid. What's going on? Where's the money? We picked up the car. We have a dispatch sheet. We made a deal. We delivered the vehicle. Sent you the invoice, the bill of lading. Should be done. Check should be in the mail or something like that. Direct deposit should be happening. Where's the com check? Where is the money? And you wait, and you wait, and it isn't coming. And so what do when you hear those crickets? And your bills are stacking up? I already didn't want to do a 10-day. I certainly don't want to do a 90-day, right? What do you do? So we're going to go through that process. We're going to talk to Don and Michelle. They've been through it. And I'll let them tell you more about their company, their process, their experience in this category. And I'm sure it's going to be another delightful interview, informative, educational, and hopefully fun too. So, hey Mike, welcome back to the show. And we got Phil's Transport. All right, you made it. Cool. So Phil's Transport. You know that you were instrumental in the idea of this show happening, so that you guys are a part of the content. If you have an idea, you think I should cover it, let me know. You can send me an email. There's the email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. You guys know I reply to your emails. I reply to the comments. I invite you to comment below this video. And yeah, man, so it's really happening. So Phil, you're going to be in the end of Facebook news. I got kind of our email exchange there. Jared, welcome to the show. Viper Transport and Towing, welcome back. And Jacob Castillo, hey, glad to see you again. And Alex, you're back. All right. And Iowa Triple, maybe your first time here. Hotshot Dave, welcome to the show. All right, man. Thank you guys for, I'm going to give you a shout out. I really appreciate everyone that watches this show, that subscribes, likes, and comments. It's great, and the channel keeps growing. I couldn't be happier, and I really appreciate it. I know how busy it is out there on the road. I mean, you guys are in your trucks. You might be home. It could have been a long day. Your day could still be going. You could be on your ELD break. So I've got my egg timer ELD, and then the ELD gets me a little upset, and then I need my Kool-Aid, and then I calm down, and then I do it all over again. So that's kind of the procedure here in the process. And as this show moves forward, I do invite you guys to chat amongst yourselves or chat a question in the live chat. And hopefully, man, this is going to be an interesting show. So let's jump into Facebook news. All right, we've already been here for 5 minutes. Come on, Jay. We got to get on with the car hauling. All right, so what do we got? So this all comes from Facebook. There's a lot of great Facebook groups out there, and you can join them. All you got to do is ask to be a part of it, and that can happen for you too. So here we go. I got 99 problems, and the DOT is number 1. So I like that. I mean, I don't like it, but, the DOT. Oh, this is crazy. Guys, next Tuesday night, I think I've got a retired state trooper and DOT FMCSA inspector going to be live on the show. I hope that happens. I think it's going to happen, so that's going to be amazing. Drivers, I-95 is covered. They check in logbooks. Just a heads up. Jared, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is super cool, man. You know what? I appreciate every donation I get. The super chat helps pay for the show. You got to be kidding me. That's the second. That's the second super chat on the screen at one time. That's a first. That is a first on this show. Um, you guys, the goal of this show is to help car haulers because I started this show. Listen, do I want to sit here every Tuesday night and spout off and talk? And, well, maybe. But I really do this because car hauling is hard, man. And I don't think people realize that. People that, residents that need a car moved, they don't know how hard it is. I mean, how would they? And they get told it's easy peasy, guaranteed, this and that. Hot pizza, steaming hot in the passenger seat when it gets there at 3:05, door to door, this and that. It isn't like that, is it? It's hard, man. Car hauling is hard, which again is what gives me so much content to talk about. So thank you guys, thank you Jared, and thank you Phils for donating to the show. I really, really do appreciate it. And I fight for car haulers, man. That's right. So, car haulers are finally allowed to help each other with social media. This wasn't happening. I mean, just what, 2-3 years ago? Thank you, Phil. I really appreciate that. And you guys deserve information and help and education. You guys deserve better rates, and you guys deserve the ability to do the car hauling without so much BS, right? And that's what this show is all about, is helping to cut down the BS. I'm just one guy, though, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's BS. Speaking of ELD, right? See, I get excited, and I got to drink the Kool-Aid. Oh, I feel so much better about my ELD now. See, it works. It works. It really works. Okay, so this is cool. Drivers, I-95ers covered. They're checking the logs books. Just a heads up. I think I saw this yesterday on Facebook. Okay, here's another one. If you are driving through South Carolina on 85 South or northbound, DOT are setting up shop in the rest areas. They're hiding in between trucks, and when you park, they walk right over and inspect you. You gotta be kidding. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. You gotta be kidding me. Thank you. That is crazy. We hit a new record here, folks, tonight. Mike it has been my student in the past 2 live dispatching training series. And that last show was, I mean, Mike, you got serious stamina. That was 2.5 hours. That was nuts. In fact, I saw people still in the live chat when the show was over. I don't even know how it's possible. So, just so you know, so I'm looking over here. When I look over here, I'm looking at my live chat screen. And Mike, our 3rd installment is going to happen at the last Tuesday of this month. It's going to be another crazy one. It's really like next level dispatching. And I guess, step 1, show 1 of 3, basic orientation. Second was intermediate training with learning, lots of learning. Man, that was the learning module. Hey, Nadia, welcome back to the show. And part 3 is next level stuff. I mean, this is the juice where you've got to really be a solid service provider. This is the stuff you need to know. And what's crazy is, even after all 3 of these classes, if you watch all 3, and it's all free, just go to the site. Even if you watch all 3, you can still come back to me for more one-on-one coaching, because no matter how much I tell you, there's still more. Dispatching is crazy hard, and I'll say this too. I got a prediction. I got a really crazy prediction that as we move into driverless trucks, the driver is going to be the dispatcher. And that's when the drivers will come back to my YouTube channel, watch my dispatching videos. Just a prediction. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But, hey, Big Papa, welcome back to the show. I'm Mike Wilson. All right, man. So, yeah, so DOT is hiding in the bushes. I mean, it sounds like Reno 911. Okay, so I guess that's kind of how it works. It just kind of, hey, how you doing? Hey, did you get a soda? You looked at the map? Okay, that's not cool. All right, Jay, you need to settle down. Okay, doesn't work that way. But this is funny. All right, so front end is like my ex. Sloppy Loose tends to wander. Okay, that's on the inspection report. Now listen, I'm having fun but I'm not going to cuss. All right? I'm on YouTube. I am monetized, barely. And I can't afford any cuss words or craziness, so I try to keep it light. All right? Okay, but we're going to have fun here tonight. Okay. Um, hmm. That's why dispatchers should stay in the office. Just saying. Okay. Oh, man. Wow. Wow. I mean, I guess you can do that, but I'm going to tell you, get out of here. I got another one? That is crazy. Oh, Brandon, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is, I got to tell you guys, I don't know if you can see the live chat. Um, well, I know you guys can, but one of the things I'm wondering is on the Kool-Aid Fund. Oh, I don't get to have fun. It's for the fund. Oh man, it's a good thing I didn't drink the whole thing. Um, there's a new YouTube feature, as a matter of fact, where they say that you can see the live stream back on the video replay. That didn't work last week. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's working or not. So I just want to, if you can't see the live chat, I just want to tell you that we're having the most amazing super chat marathon right now. I never heard of such a thing. Brandon, thank you so much. That is very generous, and I really, really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. So, man, this is just great. Thank you, Mike. Speaking of information, so the reason I pulled up this Facebook picture was, listen, as a dispatcher, I'm not booking that. I'm just telling you. If the driver says, I mean, I'll call if the driver says, I'm taking that van and I don't care how many power lines I do or don't hit. Book that van. All right, I'm booking it. I'm booking it. But as a dispatcher, I would not come up with that idea. That is a huge. Am I wrong? Oh my gosh. That is either a seriously experienced driver or a seriously inexperienced driver. He could probably do it though. It really has to be careful. Another fun day at the office. That is right. This is car hauling. Hashtag. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that's bad. I'd probably get that car off before I try and figure out how to get the. Can you see that picture? Man, that does not look good. That is bad. Okay. All right, and what else we got here? That should buff out. Oh, yeah. No, it's a convertible. It's. Did the price change? That's interesting. Do my eyes deceive me? I think my eyes deceive. I think I've had too much Kool-Aid. Just had to probably drop it to drive. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Acme? And Rodrigo? Awesome. This is fantastic, you guys. Okay, this is crazy. US 20 and I-39. Now, can you see that? Let's go ahead and zoom that. Let's see here. Can you see what's happening there? That is a car hauler. Let's bring this down. There's the car hauler. And what's really weird is I got another one. I don't think it's the same car hauler. I think that's different. There's been a lot of wind lately. I know there was a bunch of semis laying on their sides. I don't know where that was. Montana or something. But man, I'm seeing more of this. Hey, David L. Shanks in Facebook. Close that. Yeah, man, I hate every time I see it. I hate it. But I guess at least the tires are still strapped on. So I don't know what happened. Not a good place for a U-turn. Can you see that? He is in the muck. That is a bummer. That's why I say, as a dispatcher, if I'm on the phone and you say you miss your turn, I want to get off the phone immediately. I want to get off the phone. Oh, dude. This is why ELD sucks. He's at the port. Well, they're at the port. They're all waiting to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's just in this picture. How many guys are standing at the port waiting to pick up cars? Dude, that sucks. Try and explain that to the resident. And by the way, when I say that kind of thing, when I say residents and brokers, I'm just saying that it's a different category. You got the car hauler, you got the dispatcher, the resident is the customer, the shipping customer, and I want car shipping customers to watch this show. Actually, I had a lady gave a comment in the videos a few days ago, and she was seriously concerned about the car shipping company that it sounded like she was being forced to use. I hadn't heard of them, and she wanted to find out more, and I guided her to Safer Sys. So this show is for car shipping customers too. I say residents because I get frustrated sometimes, and if I sound frustrated to brokers, well, the fact is a lot of times I am frustrated with brokers. That's just part of. I don't know what to say. As if the ELD mandate wasn't bad enough, now I'm seeing more than usual paid parking. Amen to that. Oh yeah. This guy wasn't home, and he got his juror subpoena failure to respond. This is car hauling. It's never ending, right? Never ending. Meanwhile, they want you to move cars for 20 cents a mile. $300 late fee, all because roads were closed and I couldn't get there. Speaking of, what is up with recovery yards and 24-hour notice and then 1 hour out, and then they're not open Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Mondays and Fridays? It's, and then when I call, I got to put sugar on top and pretty please, and oh yeah, it's missing a tire, and oh my gosh, stop already. If you're going to pick up a car and do the repo, and I know I'm going to get some comments, and I want some comments, and I'm not trying to say that I hate all repo, but I got to tell you, starting to feel that way. Anybody, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we got a phone number up here. All right. Cool, man. Yes, guys. I love it when you guys get in contact with each other. I love that. That's awesome. All right. I want to make this clear to all new drivers, company or owner-operator. No one can tell you that you can't go to sleep or stop for a break. If you wake up and you're tired, I don't care. If you sleep for 20 hours, someone's telling you to move that truck, they legally can't and should never. Also, it's your call if you drive in bad weather, and I don't care if 1,000 trucks just passed the road. If you don't think you can do it safely, stay parked and never drive outside of your skill level. Some of this may be common sense, but I see too many people making the simplest of mistakes. I'll tell you what, let's take that off of trucking for a second, and let's just talk about people. People. You don't need to tell me if I'm driving 5 miles slower than you. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. You know what? I don't want to spin out on the ice. I'm just trying to be safe. All right. Okay. I know I feel better. Jeez. All right. It's not that kind of show. Is it really worth getting your own authority, or is it just more of a headache? I've heard both, just looking for options. We're going to be talking about that. We are going to be talking about that because here's a public service announcement. Do not buy equipment to get into this business prior to figuring out how much money you need to make and where to find, as well as the absurdly high price you're going to pay for insurance. Neither of these should be in the form of questions that follow, got my truck and trailer, etc. I'm seeing a lot of pushback on Facebook to a lot of new car hauler questions. There is a little bit of irritation there because I'm seeing it every day too. I do want to help, but these guys are feeling like, you know what? You just got on Facebook, you somehow got a truck and trailer, and now you're joining the business. It takes due diligence and info gathering. It's not, it's not the easy peasy. It's not an infomercial. I do encourage questions. Just, some of these guys are getting a little frustrated, and I think I'm starting to see why. But I want to help mediate. I'm an arbitrator. What is she doing? What does that say? Oh, here we go. Coming down the ramp to get on the interstate yesterday and had to come to a complete stop. Why? Because the lady was in the process of making a U-turn to go back up the ramp. I don't even understand this. But us truck drivers need to be regulated more and more. I see the kind of stuff every day and every hour. I tell you what, I do get it. You watch these videos, I can't believe some of the ways people drive around trucks. People, residents, regular people, please drive a little nicer around trucks. And I get it. Also, on the other hand, sometimes feels like that truck is barreling down on you. But it isn't just the truck. It's the, what? Oh, everybody's doing it, right? People have gone crazy with their road rage. All right, let's see here. Let me pull that back up. Where did I lost my place. Shoot, man, I'm only on number 14. I'm on easy peasy. Oh, man, I'm never going to get this done. This guy just parked in the middle of the road to unload. Dude. I understand. All right, here's a rumor. Is this true? Accelerated Services is buying Crown. Is that Crown Logistics? I think it is. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, this one's awesome. All right, this is super exciting. Take thousands less per load so you can possibly win a $250 gift card. Who else is excited to haul as much as they can in cheap freight? All right. So as they say, I'm just going to leave that there. But it is interesting. Oh, here we go. Actual pickup Reno. Actual delivery Palm Desert. But it's listed as Sacramento to Pasadena. Okay, people are watching. Okay, I'm just saying. Anybody watching this that doesn't like this, I'm just saying. I see it all the time. I don't understand it either. It's so far, and I know it's a way to get phone calls and get attention. I get it, but nobody likes ridiculous spamming, and that's what this feels like. You know what? People have really had it with this. It's not just me. Am I right? Have you guys had it with this? Who's had it with this? I mean, a lot of people, dude. A lot of people are talking about it. So I don't know. I mean, don't go changing. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Speaking of, okay, so they got now it's ship.cars, built from the carrier's point of view. Clearly, built from the carrier's point of view. All right, I'm leaving it there. I'm moving on. All right, hey, who's going to the Mid-America Trucking Show 2018 next week? It's quite a show. I was there, I don't remember what that was, 2015 maybe? 2014? 1974? Everyone stop what you're doing. Go to O'Reilly Parts website. Just go to O'Reilly Parts website, you know, www.O'Reilly Parts, and put in the 121G in the part search. Go ahead and do that. I think you can do that and still listen. Even if you click off, you know, it doesn't matter. I'll still be here. What is the best fridge to have in the tractor? Looking to replace my iceless cooler. So, that's interesting. You know, products, man. Products. Got those products going. Casson's Transport. You see them everywhere. So they're hiring. So you can go to cassons.com. This is not cool, man. Truck stolen from the Roadway Inn in North Charleston, South Carolina. So there's some information. If you see this truck, let them know. All right? Because nobody should have to put up with that stuff. And here's a $1,000 reward for a stolen trailer. Not cool, man. This is up in Utah, Ogden, Utah. Looks like they were going to sell it, and someone just went ahead and stole it. Makes you wonder how that all works out. See that on a 2020 sometime. All right, so here we go. We're going to start diving into this subject. So you stand by, Donna Michelle, because here I am again. That's right, here I am again. Another Florida broker owes me $800. Notice how they said Florida broker, which is interesting. I find that very interesting. It's been over 2 weeks. I emailed today asking if the check was mailed. Got a call back. I'm being charged $25 to stop payment on their check. It's lost in the mail again, y'all. Direct deposit promised tomorrow if I eat the $25 stop check fee. You ever feel like you're being put together, being put on? That's how I feel with some of these brokers. With all due respect, come on now. Is this a direct effect because of the fourth and first quarters being slow? I'm going to guess most people would say no, it's not an effect of that. It has nothing to do with ELD or anything else. It has to do with robbing Peter to pay Paul. I don't know. Maybe that's what we should have called the show. So here we go, Phil. Let's talk. Let's move this, man. What are we doing here? There we go. All right, there we go. Hey, Jay, I love your show. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. I really do. I've seen all of your shows, and maybe one day I'll see a live one. And here you are tonight. We just have conflicting schedules. I have this broker that owes me money. They have owed me money for over 30 days now. I called, I left messages, email and text as well. They don't return any calls or respond in any way, and I just don't know what to do. I figured with your vast knowledge in this industry, you could steer me in the right direction. I bet I'm not the only one who has this problem. It might be a good subject for a future show. Well, I got that, Phil. That was, what, a couple weeks ago? And here we are, man. This is that show, which is kind of cool. So here we go. Hey, Phil, thank you so much for watching. Really kind comments. Great to hear directly from the car hauling community and from the people I can help. Amen. In fact, because of your email, I just scheduled an interview with my car hauling friend Don for the live show, and that's here. So in the meantime, this is what you do. Don says, give a negative rating to the broker on Central Dispatch and provide the facts. Number 2, find the broker bond information in the lower right-hand corner of that broker's Central Dispatch profile. Search for the broker and find that information. Number 3, call their bonding company phone number and begin the process of starting a claim. Now, those are the simple steps. And the minutia we're going to get into more tonight. But be sure to have all of your attempts at communication organized, as well as copies of the dispatch sheet, completed BOL, etc. And then I talk about, moving into the show. So, and here is Phil's response. He gave the negative rating, and oh man, yeah. And then we get into the minutia. And I mean, I'm laughing because it's funny. Like I was making the video image thumbnail for this show and thinking, it's a little harsh. I X'd out the word broker and put deadbeat. But you know what? Anybody who doesn't pay for something in our society, it's well known that that person is a deadbeat or verging on a crime, or, we live in a society where people need their money. Because that if you, as an employee, let's just say with your taxes, man, the IRS will come down on you because you're the deadbeat in that situation, apparently. Or an employer will dock your pay or this or that. Man, they're not going to mess around. So why is it, as the little guy, you're so easy to be played with, right? That is not fair. All right, so here we go. Let's talk to Don. We're now going to move into the interview portion of this show. All right. Cool. Cool. The chat is showing up on the screen. So I was checking out a new feature of the Open Broadcaster software. Cool. It's working. Awesome. That is cool. I was going to do a siren, but I don't want to freak him out.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Don. All right, so first of all, let me say welcome to the show. Everybody welcome
Thank
Don. Don and I are friends. In fact, Don was there. Dude, it was my very first video on Auto Transport Intel.
Yeah, I think it was. We started talking about all this stuff months ago, I think.
Well, actually,
a lot of stuff.
that we have, and that's the thing. You and I have. Hey, Gino, we see your name. Can you see the live chat, Don?
Yes.
Cool. Just so the recap here is that for everyone out there in TV land, Don and I go back years, and which is how I know a lot of drivers, companies, business owners. You guys have known each other for years. You've known brokers for years. You've known customers for years. And that's the kind of relationship Don and I have. And so it's my pleasure to have him on the show to talk about this topic. So before I reminisce too much, let's bring in Michelle, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, hang on. Just want to see my name. That's awesome. I totally know what you mean. Thank you for
Hello?
joining. Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Hey, all right.
All right, so we should all three be on conference now.
I'm still here.
I'm here.
Awesome. I'm here. Present. So I was saying to Don, Michelle, I want to welcome you to Auto Transport Intel. I've known you guys for such a long time. It's like having family on the show.
We're your truck show buddies.
You are.
I think back, what was it, 14 or 15? I saw that part a while ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's funny to think that it was 9 months ago. Well, it was about a year ago we were first doing that footage where I was kind of experimenting. And then, yeah, 9 months ago I put my first video up, and that was me and you, Don. So here we are again. Back in the, and the reason we're here, we wouldn't have so much to talk about if there weren't so many darn problems, right?
I'm sure.
If this was just easy peasy, we'd probably barely know each other.
Everybody would be doing it, too.
Well, the funny thing is, everybody is doing it, and yet it's not easy peasy. Isn't that the irony? Isn't it so strange that there's a new car hauler every day?
Well, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to car haulers, and they have their elaborate stories of how they make $3,000 to $5,000 a week. And I have a brother that does it with a truck, and how great it is to have your own authority. And you don't hear that the fact it cost them, if they made $3,000, it cost $2,800 that week to make it most of the time.
That's right.
On average.
That's right. There's a big difference between gross and profit.
Exactly right.
That's right. When you come down to it, and so because of that, simple truth, you can't afford to get jerked around with even, if you've got a broker that owes you for a few cars, that could be a big problem.
Yes, definitely.
You guys had the worst. I want to start with the worst. I think the worst situation was and we're not going to do any first names or any company names, okay?
Okay.
But how much did that broker owe you at one time?
You know who you talked about, Michelle?
Right. Which one?
Well, the biggest one we've ever had.
The biggest one you ever had.
Oh, gosh, there was one you mean it? There was one that was close to 25,000.
25,000. Right. That's the one I think I'm talking about. So they owed you $25,000. Yeah, okay. So they owed you $25,000. $25,000. And how many days late, would you estimate they were?
It was over 30 days.
Okay.
It was in the 40s. I think when we first, I think what it was is the problem was that they were such a big company and they had a 30-day pay that we didn't. That was our first incident with that much revenue where we started to realize there was a problem, and we were still hauling. And I think it was about 45 days before we actually, diagnosed that we're not getting paid. They're literally not going to get this money to us. And we had already had in transit, well, I guess we were with 25 in, and then we were still probably putting another 10 or so on top of that. So we were up in around the 30, I would think, range by the time we realized there was a problem.
And I think, I want to say, part of the information was that we started to realize that there was information. Wasn't there information online or on Central or a rumor going around?
It was negative ratings.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It started with, they started building up like really high amounts of negative ratings within.
Oh, yeah. It was like 30 within 30 days. And
yeah, I think I was the one that actually got on one and saw that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
When you said something about it, it was unbelievable because they were such a large brokering company that we just stopped checking. We had done so much work for them for 3 or 4 years, but we stopped checking ratings. Once you get, that check as much because you do work with them all the time.
So number one takeaway, even if you leave the show right now, is be sure to just continue to check ratings. Why not?
Definitely.
As part of your due diligence, just check the ratings.
And the notes section about payments and where they say you have to note mileages and you have to, there's certain rules. Some people sneak that stuff in a lot. And that's one of the things as a company, we move thousands of cars a year, and we still, every once in a while, will have something that we go to bill or invoice and we did not catch where they added just a little bit in there to make it either delay your payment for 30 days or not pay it, or try not to pay it.
Yeah. Or you got to get the odometer reading, and that was in there small, at the very end where you didn't see it. And next thing you know, well, you didn't get us the odometer reading, so it says we're not going to pay if you don't get it.
Right.
And they usually do pay, but they can extend it out 30 to 45 days.
But, and that's a really good point in that one of our recent shows, drivers were talking about the fine print in a broker's contract, and yet the reverse does not apply. The broker can put in whatever they want, and the car hauler can't put in whatever they want.
Right. And yeah, that's the thing. We're not, you would think that it would be laid out is that the car hauler has a contract that says, hey, I'm an open hauler. I can't be responsible for ships or things of this nature. You're shipping it not enclosed, but open. I have this amount of time to deliver the vehicle. You'll meet me in a location. I mean, there should be these different things that everybody assumes is going to be there, and they're not. And you, as a third party, I guess like we're a contractor for the broker, we don't have that. They kind of make it to where it's not our right or option to list certain things that we think just make common sense. I mean, there's really no common sense.
You can't book the load unless you fill out their paperwork and sign a dotted line, which basically says you're responsible for everything.
Which wouldn't it be? I mean, as you say this, wouldn't it be nice if during the dispatch process there was at least a way to line through something or some sort of back and forth? There's nothing. It's either accept or decline. There's no, you can't do anything.
That's exactly right. Now, I mean, you can build a relationship with a broker and in some sort of kind of common understanding, to a certain extent. I mean, not every broker is the enemy. That's one of the things. That's
right.
I
Thank you, Don.
Tell myself.
Yes.
They're not all the enemy.
That's right.
You get burned a few times, and so immediately, if you get burned 3 times, well, all 9 are all bad. And and especially, I mean, going back to the payment part, is that my thing is that if they're going to delay you 15 to 30 to 45 days from where they were supposed to originally pay you on a 2-day or a 5-day, it makes me extremely mad because you know that they're collecting their payment from an individual on a credit card immediately, either on upon delivery or prior to shipping, or they've gotten half of that money. And I think that's why it's such a frustrating thing for small drivers, small companies, because we're putting out $1,000 a week for fuel, we're paying for all the expenses, and then they drag their feet at paying you, and that always rubs me wrong. So
and you know what's interesting?
I call the broker sword.
And that's why I've talked to. I think having these conversations with you has helped me find out more from the broker. Are you having problems that are rolling downhill? And I've talked to some smaller brokers, one-man shows, 2, 3 people in the office, and they are beholden to dealerships that aren't paying them for long periods of time. So I know they're getting caught in the lurch sometimes. And that's why.
If they do, and we've been very lenient with those, but they're just, I mean, without saying names, but I'm sure everyone's experienced the same thing out there. It's been in this business for a little while. Every time that one of these brokers they're rewarded at a contract with a large company, with a large amount of vehicles to ship, they do great for the first 15 to 30 days, and then they struggle because the payments from large volumes take forever to get to them, and they delay paying the drivers that they've actually hired to move those vehicles. I mean, it's hard to say all this without large names, but it's happened
I know.
at least half a dozen times, hasn't it, Joe? What do you think?
Yeah, a lot.
Well,
it seems like every time it's the exact same trend.
Well, and what's interesting too is the company that you were talking about with $30,000 was literally one of the biggest brokers in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
I think they were, yeah.
And they're now out of business. They're out of business, right? I mean, as far as we know, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they have another business name. They just
I think they do.
Yeah. I think we caught that with the address.
Right.
The actual broker agreement, remember? And all they did was white out the original name and put the other name in.
They sure did.
And then they didn't want to pay us again. Well, we did one vehicle for them, I think, just as a test, and then we said, well, we're not going to ever do that again. You know, it's hard when they're on your routes and they're paying excellent money. When you start seeing a car at 89 cents to $1.05 a mile, and it's on your route, and you're trying to fill a spot. I mean, even if you think, gosh, I've got to hold out for 30 days to get paid for this guy, hopefully they'll pay me. It's hard to turn that down. I've done it. You know, it's a risk. It's like going to a casino, you know?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. It was a couple years ago. I was booking you, and I couldn't book their loads, and I was seeing them. So, so I guess, so to recap, we're talking about, so red flags, you got to start with, if you see negative ratings, like chronic negative ratings, and if you get that red, this broker has had payment issues in the past, you got to call about that. You know what I'm saying. You've seen that, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and I've made those phone calls too. And even just making that phone call can sometimes alleviate the problem. But, so let's say now, so here you are, you start racking up a number, you know, you've hit several red flags, and I guess the thing you're saying is, this is I think where a lot of car haulers struggle. We don't want to give negative ratings, but if we don't, then we're causing ourselves a problem, aren't we?
That's not the first line of defense, though. Just so you know.
What's the first thing?
That's one step in a series of things. I mean, because you don't want to make someone mad that actually was trying to do. I mean, if they tried to do the right thing, or they forgot, or still laying on their desk. I mean, there's no reason to burn a bridge or make someone mad if a mistake was made. You have to have a little bit of leniency.
So what do you do?
You usually do the negative rating after there's no contact. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It'd be like if you had a buy here, take here line. Somebody had a car, and they were supposed to make a payment, and they didn't. 7 days rolls by, and you start calling, and you can't get a hold of them, you can't get a hold of their mom, you can't get a hold of everybody on the list. There's something wrong, and that's when you go to the negative. You know, same idea.
All right, so you go ahead, you email, you call, text. If you get silence, then you go to the negative.
Right.
All right.
You think so, Michelle? I mean, I think that's probably one of the better moves.
I like it, man.
I did make the mistake of giving a negative rating a little too fast after we just been burned a few times, and I was just like, forget it, we're going to get the money, I'm sending out a negative rating. So yes, they turned around and retaliated and gave us a negative rating, saying that we didn't deliver on time when we did, and I had to send in paperwork, and it was just turned into a big old mess.
Yeah, right, retaliation.
Yes.
And
Escalation.
then Centro doesn't get involved in any of that anymore. Like originally, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, you had to provide proof before you could actually give a negative rate. Now they just tell you to handle it yourself. That's not how they do.
And let's talk about that. What do you think about that? Do you think Central Dispatch is doing the right thing, or do you wish they stay involved?
Oh, it's horrible. Central Dispatch is broker related. They take care of their brokers. I'm not for sure that they double-check bonds. I'm not for sure they double-check anything with a broker. But you can bet your ass they check our insurance and everything else on the car hauling side. And I think that if there was a side to pick, they're always going to side with the broker for some weird reason. We all pay the same amount. I have no idea why.
Actually, I think carriers pay more than brokers pay.
And they may do that.
I think so.
And a lot of the brokers will be on central dispatch, and then they'll send over a dispatch sheet through an email so that they're not actually traceable through central dispatch.
And isn't that interesting?
Get away with a lot of rules.
Now,
a lot of rules.
Isn't that interesting that we know? Well, we believe. Let's do that. We believe that central dispatch favors the brokers, and yet I've talked to so many brokers that don't trust central dispatch.
And I can't speak from the broker side. I've never been a broker on Central. There may be things that I don't know about. I just know that from a carrier standpoint, they don't back you on any negative ratings. There's really nothing that they do on the side of the carrier that I've found is, other than just putting, getting your information, getting loads out there. That's all they do for us, really. And that's not even consistent. I mean, if you look at it, just looking at Central, it doesn't tell you. They should have parts in there that say, this car picks up at a Copart. This car picks up at a... they should have...
Totally.
I mean...
You were the one that told me that.
Calling somebody...
Yes.
Finding out that this whole damn time you've been calling about a car that you can't even pick up except for on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I mean, or there's certain things that they should help. They should put more information, I guess, in there for the carrier, I think. But that's just me.
But I think you're right. Just like you see a green bar when it's a highlighted 1 hour or newer load, if you choose that filter, there should be color codes. It'd be very helpful. If it's a Copart, IAA, or TRA, it should be highlighted or something. Now, I know brokers don't want that, but that would really, because it's my first question. Every time I book a load, I say, what type of pickup location is this? And if I hear it's an auction, I already know I need to keep asking. Because if it's at Mannheim, I get Mannheim or Odessa, great. But if it's at a Copart, I get told it's at an auction.
And you can be rest assured that 50% of the time when it's supposed to be operable, it's not.
I know.
I mean, I've had that conversation for hundreds of conversations.
So now I got to get pictures and, okay, I don't want to get off track. All right, so we know the atmosphere is you got to watch out for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you maybe it was 100%, everything was great, easy peasy, but now that 5-day pay, nothing in the mail, you've called, you've emailed, nothing. What do you do?
Go ahead, sir.
Negative rating.
Negative rating. Okay. And you just do that by you go into your dispatch to me, you click on the load, you click on the broker, and then you click what? Edit rating and say that they did not live up to their part of the contract, right? And
it has options for it.
Uh-huh.
It'll say that they did not pay. But they'll do the same thing for a driver that if you didn't deliver. It has like 7 or 8 options. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been in there, but it's that you were not paid for the contract or whatever.
Okay.
And at that time, usually Michelle will look at their ratings at that time, and that right there is literally going to decide whether or not we're going to throw all the brakes on and throw everything. We're going to throw a whole can of gas in the fire and go after the bond. What we're going to do, because if you go on there and all of a sudden you're trying to put a negative rating, and you see in the last 30 days that they've got 10 to 20 to 30 negative ratings, we immediately go into attack mode, because if you don't go after that bond, and the bond's for $25,000, I think, which is their minimum now, I believe, you can get $25,000 easy with 20, 30 other people, and once it's gone, it's gone. It's like bankruptcy.
Right. So let me say this. All right. So Nadia is taking the side of the broker in this example. She says, call again. So you call again.
That's the point of, a lot of times we're calling daily.
Yeah.
We're sending emails daily. We're sending faxes over. It's late notices.
That's right.
We don't just call once and then do a negative rating. That would be terrible.
And I know you know this is that I believe a dispatcher's job is to book cars, But if it gets ridiculous, I'll call. I'll call late. I'll call early. I'll call on the weekend. I'll help you try to get a hold of them. We're all calling. They don't answer the phone. It's time for the negative rating. It just is. You don't have anything else you can do, right?
Right. So a lot of times that at least gets their attention to you.
Yeah. Okay. So now you give the negative rating. Now what happens? I mean, what's been your experience when you give the negative rating?
I'll usually wait and see if it actually posts because it has a certain number of days to respond. And if they don't respond, I've never had one not respond.
Oh, okay.
Usually that takes care of it.
And that's the thing too, is that the negative rating is not the nuke button. It is I need to get your attention button. And we all press buttons all the time. I need the stewardess, or I ring the doorbell. I mean, it's a button to get attention. Now, it seems pretty serious, but it's easy to take care of. If they get back to you, right?
And the whole key to this whole thing too is you don't want to threaten or make threatening calls. You don't want to cuss anyone. You just assume. We always handle everything is that someone made a mistake, and it'd be as nice and courteous as possible that you possibly can. I mean, you'll know when it's not time not to be courteous and nice, but for the most part, we never leave bad voicemails. We never leave bad emails. We don't threaten. I don't think threatening anyone's ever gotten anything ever done, ever. I mean, most
Agreed.
of the time, just posting that negative rating is enough of a threat alone, if that makes sense.
It does.
We always remove the negative rating. As soon as they pay us, a lot of times it gets removed before that negative rating's ever even posted.
That's right. That's right. And I've, in fact, been able to mediate and remove negative ratings on behalf of drivers. A negative rating can be removed at any time. It's not like, it's not like when you call the cops and you can't call them off. I mean, you can remove it at any time.
Right.
Yeah. So in that sense, the Central Dispatch negative rating system has a positive effect.
Most of the time it does. And you'll know if they're having financial troubles because if they start, we've actually heard from that one larger company. I was in the middle of the conversations. Michelle was in the conversations. I think even you were in some of the conversations with those people trying to get some of the money. And it's happened with a couple other ones. They have a large list of excuses, and you'll start noticing, like, there'll be repetitive excuses, and then there'll be someone else that gets involved in another manager or something of that nature, and that's when you start realizing they're in trouble. I mean, it just don't feel right. It doesn't sound right, and it's kind of like if they are getting in communication with you, though, and telling you a certain amount of time, you can't go after the bond. Because the bond company will tell you, have you tried making communication? They're an arbitration. They're basically an arbitrator. And they're carrying a policy to help guarantee that you're going to get paid. They don't want to get in the middle of that. But if you get to that point where you're actually sending steps to that bond and they get involved, then I don't think we've ever seen anything to the bond company that immediately the broker didn't call us like within 24 to 72 hours or something like that and say, hey, I'm going to send you over an ACH or whatever, because they don't want to lose their bond. So that is a very, very aggressive step, but it does get things done. And typically, I don't think we've ever been paid from the bond. We've been paid from whoever owed it. It's just that if there was a list of if they took a hat and they were putting all the names of everybody they were paying, your name went straight to the top of the hat, So they pay you pretty quick.
All right, so let's talk. Oh, go ahead, please, Michelle.
Now there is kind of a cautionary tale to that when you're contacting the bond and the company and you're still not getting paid. You still have to keep in mind of a certain time period and still keep all of your records, because we actually did have one where I was trying to be patient with them. They kept giving me excuses and I was continuing to be patient with them. Well, come to find out, during that meantime, the bond people dropped them, and because I didn't file my claim within the time while they were with their bond company, they were no longer responsible to repay us, even though it was during the time period they were, because I didn't report it.
Right. Okay.
That was a messy situation. We've never received payment for that one.
So I want to say this. Okay, so at this point, we've talked about trying to resolve matters without getting legal. Okay, because even a central dispatch rating is not a legal situation. But if you can't get a hold of them, you have to give the negative rating, and maybe you still don't hear from them. It's just nothing. This is where you search for the company's, the broker profile on Central Dispatch, or by other means if you have to, and find out who their bond company is. Now, a bond company issues a surety bond, which at this point in time is a $75,000 surety bond. Is that right? Does that sound right to you guys?
I think that's correct.
Okay.
It may have went up, but I think it's 25.
Well,
and like I said previously, I'm not sure that Central guarantees or verifies. It may verify it one time at sign up, but I'm not for sure because of the issues we've seen where
right.
We had one, the bond company. The bond company they had listed was bogus. It wasn't even a real bond company.
Wow. And that's the thing is that, I mean, but this is governed by, there are rules and regulations to be a broker. And it is assumed you're going to follow those rules and regulations. And one of them is you have to have a surety bond. Just like, I know like even a notary public has to have a bond. This is a fund set aside that in case you injure a client or a representative injures a client, this is a fund to pay for those damages, correct? Does that sound right to you?
That's correct, because Central Dispatch is actually a contract to pay. And it's kind of one of those things where they can get you, with the fine print, things of that nature, if they really wanted to. But it's supposed to be a binding contract. So that's when, I guess legally, the bond company is like I said, they seem more like an arbitrator, but they guarantee that the funds are there and available up to a certain amount of money.
Right. And so it's assumed that the transport contract amount will be less than the amount of the bond. So if for some reason the company doesn't pay you, you can go to the bond company, file a claim, and get paid. Ultimately, you could get paid by the bond company, right? I think. But I think the bond company really goes to the client, the broker, and says, listen, you have to pay this. They have records because the consequences there, I don't even know what those legal consequences are.
Yeah, and I believe to have a bond, you even have to have your spouse's confirmation that you have a bond. Like they are really, it's kind of like it's a really sure thing that those people are liable, or that they're capable of coming up to $25,000. I guess
Right.
They make sure everybody in your family knows that you're signed up for it. I mean, there's a lot of things they do. I think with a bond, because we had one for a car dealership. It was kind of like that. They ask for a lot of really detailed information about who you know and everything of that nature. So they can get hold of you.
And so, I mean, within this level of legality, you've got brokers that require not only named as a certificate holder, but additionally insured. And, I mean, they get involved in your information so that they make sure they're taken care of in case of a claim. But when the reverse happens to the car hauler, you feel left alone, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank goodness for the bond company, because you'd have nothing, right?
Right.
Well, and I mean, we haven't had to go to the bond. I mean, it's great that it's there, but we've never have gone to it. But most of the time, they take care of it. It's just
you contacted them. You did.
Putting fuel and maintenance and things of this nature on a credit card, it has a 30-day pay, and we diversify ourselves across brokers or across our work. We have so much that has 30. We can handle so much 30-day pay, so much 5-day pay, so much COD. We have to have a little bit of diversity, because if we don't have enough cash to operate.
Right.
Between all the trucks and the drivers and everything in between, you have to have a cash flow. And so when we take on a customer that's like, for instance, we had one in Texas there. We were taking 2 trucks at a time down. It was a 30-day pay. And we did that for, I guess, 3 weeks. And then their 30-day pay turned into a 42-day pay. Well, it kind of runs over your credit limit, you know. And it's a lot of things we've learned, you know, over the years. I mean,
Right.
We have a lot of limbs in the business, and not all of them talk to each other all the time. So things can get out of hand real quick when you're putting a lot of things on your truck, and before you know it, you've got a lot of accounts receivable out.
That's right. You have 2. That's right. Well, let me ask you this. But Michelle, you contacted the bond company. I mean, you were at that next level, right? You were in touch with the bond company. And I think we get into the minutia. I mean, did you get to the point where you had to file a claim, or you at least understood that would be the next level?
Oh, yeah, we've actually filed claims and
Okay.
sent in the paperwork, and they would still give that company time to pay us. And the company ended up paying us in the end. It didn't actually come from the bond company.
And so, tell me just roughly, what does it take paperwork wise? I mean, you had to supply all your evidence, right? Your dispatch sheet, BOLs, notes of phone calls, attempts to call, all that stuff, right?
Yes, all emails. Every time I would, contact them, I would write it on the invoice, the date, the time, who I talked to. I would get names if, I was able to. You have to have every bit of detail. They want it all.
Okay. And, I mean, when you're dealing with a bond company, I mean, does it feel like you're dealing with, you're filing a claim? I mean, a claim is the beginning of a legal process, is my understanding.
Right.
So, I mean, this is the beginning of a legal procedure to where the the bond company is going to contact their client, the broker, and say, you really need to pay this.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, that's what it took. How many times have you had to do this process? Or at least begin this process?
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And how many times did you not get paid, or how many times did it resolve itself and you got paid?
There's only been one time that we have not gotten paid, and we got the broker involved. Of course, then there's the other time where there was the fictitious broker. Technically,
that's crazy.
Not broker, fictitious
bond company. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
And what's interesting is, I mean, I guess then the last thing you can do, you'll see this if you go to Google and you can read reviews of a broker or bond company or a transporter. I mean, right. Take it to Facebook at that point, I guess.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Even that bigger company was like that. They had a lot of different things in a blog at the time. I mean, what was that, like 4 or 5 years ago? Something like that. I don't think the blog thing was quite as popular as it is now. And I think you had read me some things that people had posted about them,
Yeah.
But by then, you're already committed. I mean, with numerous trucks, I mean, it's not so bad when you have one small truck, but when you've got 4 or 5 trucks out there running, before you know it, you can accumulate $20,000-$30,000 worth of accounts receivable within a very short period of time, So you've got to be a little bit quicker when you get quite a few trucks out there. Most of the trouble that we've ever had as far as like going to negative ratings and stuff, I believe, are just like one-off. Had never done anything with a broker before, smaller amounts. A lot of times they would put down like a 2-day pay. Most people end up going with it's more realistic, like a 25 to 30-day pay by the time you get it. But we're not harsh. I mean, if someone says 2-day pay and it turns around being 7 to 14, I mean, you have to allow for mail time for them to put it through. I mean, we're not always in attack mode. It's just that you just kind of gotta use your own discretion, I guess, with a lot of that stuff, But definitely watch for a lot of other negative ratings showing up, because that is a telltale sign every single time we've
Right. Yeah, and so I mean it catches my eye if a broker doesn't have a 100% rating. Now, if it's 99%, I pretty much just ignore that because you can't please all the people all the time. But if you're
Now,
talking 70, like run.
yeah, that's kind of pushing it there. And like we were talking about before, we were saying excuses and stuff. You can kind of start seeing a pattern to it, and you know, we've even got checks before that bounced. We've had the same problem with that. It's like,
Man.
okay, we made a mistake. You allow everybody a mistake. I mean, things happen. We're all in business. I mean, we definitely understand how it works, but they should reconcile that within a very short period of time. 7 to 10 days. I mean, max. I don't think we've ever had too much trouble with that.
One thing we did start doing after having a couple of the companies that owed us large sums of money and we were struggling to get it, which put us in a bad way because we've got, credit cards to pay for the fuel and everything, is I'll start keeping track of how much work we're doing for each company. And if I notice, oh gosh, we've got, $25,000 out with this company, let's back off from them just in case.
Right.
Because like with that other company, I mean, they were a reputable broker, and they just folded and, went right out from under us, with no, we just didn't know it was coming. So we never try to get too much out with one company at one time. We don't put all our eggs in one basket. That's how you get burned.
There's a comment on there. I just saw it says either you get a payment out of a broker because they care about their authority. What do you do with dealers or import-export companies? We hardly ever offer import-export companies without COD, and most of the time I want cash. Import-export is one of the sketchiest businesses that I have ever seen, ever. And that's just my history with it. I'm sure there's probably hundreds of stories that go the other way. But as far as our company, if it's an import-export, it's usually a sketchy pickup, sketchy delivery. The details are sketchy. There's a lot of always unknowns. And that's another thing, too, is that I don't want to get off the subject, but let me go ahead and finish this. And
No, keep going. I like this. Keep going.
But with the dealer, it's very easy to get paid because a dealer, you know where they're at. I like a broker. I don't know where their location is. A dealer, I can park my truck right in front of their parking lot if I need to. Dealers are very easy to get a payment from them. They don't want anything they have so much money, so much income coming in. We only had one dealer, I think, in Houston that was supposed to be a COD, and I believe I was the driver at the time. Did not pick it up. It took a while to get paid for that, but they always pay. It might take them a minute because they don't really care about the drivers, and also, obviously you can tell in this business they're more worried about selling cars than they are the guy dropping off cars. But they always pay. In our experience, I think we're 100% on the dealers. Import-export, make sure you get COD, especially cash, things of that nature.
Cash on pickup if you can.
Yeah, cash on pickup, cash on delivery. Just make sure someone's giving you cash for it. But one of the things that I was going to touch base on with that is that the longer you do it, you start to get a feeling or a vibe. I know this is a crazy way to run a business, but I've delivered a vehicle before to a person that I even heard some of the conversations that he owed the place that I was dropping off to money. And I immediately got on the phone to Michelle and said, hey, we need to bill this guy now. Because I looked and it was a 5-day pay or something of that nature. And at that point, we need to, you just want to drive it home. You don't want to let up on something like that, because sometimes when we were using paper BOLs and stuff, it would take us, by the time we got off the road, it would be 7 days before we were billing for something, and then it would be, it actually add an extra week onto it. Now if we're doing electronic, it can be the same. We can be within 2-3 minutes. So if you get somewhere and something doesn't feel right, and they're supposed to pay you over time, like 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, it does not hurt to follow up. You can follow up on things. You can double check, make sure they got the email. If they want you to fax it, you can call and say, hey, I just want to make sure you got the fax of the BOL. there's certain things. That way you can just stay on it because, for some people, $400, $500 is, make or break.
Shoot,
so
yeah. I mean, that's
one of the major suggestions.
Because of maintenance and fuel, you need that money, and that's where, like you were talking about, telltale signs. Like, if you call, I mean, I've been through this several times with drivers. As I call and they say, "Oh yeah, did you fax it?" And I'm like, "Man, I know we faxed it, right?"
Right. But and it doesn't hurt to follow up with that. I mean, even
Every time.
Some of the bigger companies are like that. There was another big company out there that we were sending things, and they were not checking. What was it? Show the second page of your attachment or something like that. Like every single time, and the second page of the attachment was better than I did. Was it the BOL or what was it on that?
It's in the dispatch. It's on the order.
Right, because you send. Okay, so right, I was just gonna say this is billing process can help you make sure you get paid. Well, what is your billing process? How many pages do you send?
Oh, just an invoice and BOL.
Invoice and BOL, 2 pages. Invoice and BOL. And are you able to email most brokers?
If I can email it, I do.
Exactly.
There's record and tracking of that. If I fax it, I almost inevitably will hear, well, we don't have any record of that.
That's right.
And so I don't have a leg to stand on. If I can email, I'll email.
Hey, by the way, Don, Phil says the bond people were very nice that he talked to, and I think it's after you and I talked, and I gave the information to Phil that you gave me. It looks like it pointed him in the right direction. So look at that, man. You paid it forward.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
We may not be professional auto haulers, but we definitely have a whole shitload of information.
Oh my gosh!
We've had about everything happen to us, good or bad.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean,
they and I'll tell you something else too. Before I forget, is when you're on Central Dispatch and someone's going to email you over or fax you over a order, it's going to disappear from Central Dispatch. It's a really good idea to either screenshot, print it out, whatever you've got to do. I'll send the Central Dispatch before they do that so that you know the payment terms, so there's no discrepancy, and what they listed on Central, because we've had that several times where they've listed things as a 2-day no fee, and next thing you know, we bill, and they say, oh, well, you're not set up for that, and that's not what they posted on Central. There's no way to go back and pull that old order up. So just as a billing information, I guess, keep a copy of that.
That is such a great idea, screenshotting. I don't think I've ever talked about that, and that is a great idea, man. Because what I do is, I'll do things like I'll email it to myself and keep the email. I'm at my desk. But a screenshot, that's a great idea.
Yeah, just anything like that to just kind of help, just in case.
Awesome
tip. You
tip.
would think that there would be a discrepancy, but sometimes there is, and there's nothing worse than standing there with your hands, wide open, going, "What the hell? Why didn't I do that?" So.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because there are dispatches. There's brokers that'll dispatch a 2-part dispatch, so they send you the dispatch so it doesn't have any money on it. And then there's something else, a rate agreement that may not have all the address info, and you've got the wonderful 2-part dispatch. Now, I know it's important for their process, but as the carrier, it doesn't make it as simple to organize and centralize all the information.
That's great.
So, and I was going to say, Michelle, I mean, you must have developed techniques in the billing department that are, golden nuggets of wisdom, just like you were talking about diversifying, watching out, and making sure your balance with somebody doesn't get too high. Do you use QuickBooks, or how do you manage that information?
I put everything on spreadsheets.
Right.
I'm the spreadsheet queen. Even all the orders that come through, super dispatch and everything, I back everything up on a spreadsheet.
Okay, so now we talking like Google Docs, or you just make
Google Sheets and Google Docs are wonderful when you got guys out on the road, and where you're pass information between different people. That way, it's shareable. You can make certain parts, where only you can change that information. They can't. We even use some for certain customers that, we have, large amounts. It helps us keep track of all our orders and stuff. Google Sheets is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I really like Google Docs. And I use Google Sheets, and yeah, it's awesome. And you can go from computer to computer, and the information's right there.
Right.
Yeah, I love that too. And it is amazing. A simple spreadsheet can be, what makes or breaks your system without it being, all complicated.
And always back it up. And that's why I used to not do Google Sheets. I would just have it on my computer, and my computer crashed, and I lost everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So if you can just use Google Sheets, and that way it's up there in the cloud somewhere, I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then, like monthly, you can export it as a PDF and file that away and things like that. So, what other? All right, so we kind of went through the steps. Are there? Oh, I had a question I was going to ask you, and also there's been some great stuff in the chat. So if you see, listen, you guys, if you have a question, now's a great time to put it in the chat. I'm watching the chat. I know Don and Michelle are watching the chat. And I wanted to ask you, you were talking about import export, and I was going to ask you, are there types of payments or just payment methods or fine print that you see as red flags that may not be obvious? Are there other red flags that may not be obvious?
I don't know. I mean, me personally, the only time I start to get a little nervous, I know, and this may be just an excellent broker. I'm not really for sure, but when I start seeing things in the brokering notes that say, I need you to give them a paperwork that has our name on it. I need you to note the mileage. I need you to. They contact the customer. You're trying to figure out where to meet these people at, and you can't even reach them. I hate that. I think that sometimes when somebody's new to the business, they don't really understand what the tangibles are of the business. That makes me nervous, because what kind of income are they running on? How many customers are they trying to take on? What do they have? I mean, what if they spend all their money on advertising and they have hundreds of customers and they can't pay? New customers or new brokers make me nervous. I'm not going to get on to Florida paying. I'm not going to get on the Florida thing and bash all the Florida ones like
Florida brokers.
But, they make me nervous. They seem like they're a little bit more flat by the seat of their pants, or they're here today, gone tomorrow type deal. We really like building relationships with some of the bigger brokers. I know they don't pay as much. I get that. I mean, sometimes, like I said, when you're looking at a car that's $1 a mile, and it's somebody that you've never done anything with, something doesn't feel right, it's a 20, 30-day pay, it's almost worth it to take a pass sometimes, just because, $500 compared to $700, you're going to get $500. Where $700 you may not.
Right.
We're just very gun shy on a lot of that stuff, I guess.
It's a good point. If you see a double or triple listed load, I don't always go for the highest money.
Well, and you don't take a double or triple listed load, because the next thing you know, you filled your spot, as a dispatcher, that you're on to moving into filling the other spots, or you're thinking you're done. Next thing you know, that vehicle's already moved, or someone else has taken it, or they don't have it, they don't have it, even though they say they have the contract. So now you've got a truck sitting in the Odessa, and you're trying to fill a spot.
Oh my gosh.
And instead of taking a car for $600, now you're taking it for, I hate to do this, but way less. I wouldn't do it for way less, but I'm just saying that's what happens,
Yeah.
You can't sit there all day and night. So
no, I know.
Double, triple listed, it just scares the hell out of me. Nobody knows what's going on. So
Before I forget, there is a broker's name I keep seeing in the chat, and I just want to say for the record, I don't think that broker's being talked about because of the issues we're talking about tonight. I'm not sure how that chat got started, but that broker, I don't have any problems with that broker. And I'm not talking about, we just saw Nationwide, but there's a broker that's been
Which one
named
is it?
many times in this
I
chat.
must have missed that
And
one.
I don't think that they have any payment issues. If you want to find out more about them, yeah, I mean, they're a bigger broker, and I'll book loads for them. So, and as far as Nationwide, I had Jake on the show several weeks ago, and yeah, actually they're a broker that I think they're in Florida, and they actually do impress me. So I want to say this, Don, is that I used to have this big hang up about Florida brokers, and actually that's changed over time. I don't know how that changed, but it did. Um,
Yeah. Well, and you know, I mean, everybody, everything rotates around. I mean,
yeah.
good things happen
Well,
in certain spots, bad things. It depends on the area that you're focusing on too. I mean, I know your areas and your lanes that you dispatch from, so
yeah.
you know, obviously you're going to run into certain
Yeah.
brokers in certain areas. You know, people that are
Yes.
California, you know, coast to coast, are going to have different brokers than you know we're used to. So I mean, I'm sure there's horror stories with everything.
But there are, I mean, I'm not going to do this, but there is like a list, and I wouldn't call it the dirty dozen. I might call it the ugly 50, because it's not just a few guys. I mean, there's the broker that always asks me if I'll do it cheaper. Gosh, I hate them. And they ask every time. There's the broker.
For ridiculous amount, and then ask you, and then tell you, oh, I can get it.
It's got to be the worst trick in the business. There's the broker that lists the car in a city like 1,000 miles away. All right, that's an exaggeration, but it sure feels that way. I hate it when a broker lists it somewhere else just to get me to look at it. That's
Yeah.
I hate that.
I can't remember. Somebody does that. One of the brokers does that, and they say that the load's actually in this location, and you're like, well, that's not even nowhere near the same state or city where I'm at.
So when I call, I say, well, I'm not actually a dispatcher, and I don't actually work for a car hauler. I'm just calling. How are you doing? Yeah, what's up? This is fun, isn't it? This is cool.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Sketchy stuff.
I mean, I'm sorry. Or there's the brokers that's not even just one that you call to book a load and they've got like this enormous packet, but you're like, man, how long have you been in business? I just want to move one of your cars. We'll probably never talk again. Why do I need all this packet?
Right. Or the ones that want the excessive amount of cargo insurance.
Oh my
for
gosh.
one vehicle.
No
You're
doubt.
trying to pick up a 1994 Nissan Maxima
No.
and they want $250,000 worth of cargo. Or something just doesn't. I guess that's what I was getting at earlier.
Yeah.
You can feel when a broker hasn't been doing this for a while.
Right.
And that's scary because as a transporter, you know, believe it or not, you're representing. The broker's representing you. When you get on site, you're representing the broker. You don't know what the conversations were before or after. I mean, it's just a. That's why I think that if anybody that's on here is actually just going to Central Dispatch for 70 to 80% of their loads, it's going to be tough.
Well,
you've got to build a customer base. You've got to get away from random loads, random brokers. You've got to get your own customers, because if you don't do that, you're always just gonna. I mean, it's like flipping a quarter. Yeah, you just don't know how it's gonna go week to week.
And that's why, you know, it's strange. That's another reason why this show is a strange thing for me to do, because, you know, I'm eating off the load boards every day, because that's the role that I serve. It's kind of like, I mean, I work at a fast food restaurant every day. I'm not going to help you cook at home, though I recommend it, right?
Right.
So
that's almost like exact.
It is. I mean, I'm sifting through the garbage every day. I don't recommend it, but that is what I do, and that's what a lot of us do. Yeah, and so it is. It's crazy because if you can, just like you were talking about diversification, if you're gonna be in this business for the long term strategy, if you're gonna get to step 20 and succeed, you have got to have a customer.
Right, right.
Right, and that
There's
customer
there's
is. You don't worry about getting paid by that customer, do you?
right, right. And that's the thing. I mean, you build a relationship with a customer.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get a customer and they, their locations, their billing policies, everything that they need. But it is the same thing again. You don't want to let too much revenue, too many accounts receivable build up before, you're like, oh, this is a great relationship. We're doing great together. And you start taking on more and more and more. You don't want to do that and get yourself in trouble. You want to make sure you establish some sort of payment, that's you can handle, that your company can handle, how much cash flow you need, things of that nature. So, but, I mean, you really need to be off the load board as much as possible.
You really, and you do. I mean, I think if you eat off the load board, 100%, right? If you eat at Taco Bell every day, you're gonna end up with what? A stomach ache? Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The load board is basically crumbs.
It is,
the
man.
Load board it's the crumbs. You're taking there's some,
That's why
you're getting what's left.
That's why even the new loads, I still have to ask for more money, and yeah. But that's another topic, and I'll keep covering it. But here, this is interesting. We got 2 comments in a row stating that they need more than 50,000 per car in cargo. Now, 50,000 per car in cargo, that is the standard. And I mean, it really in most cases should cover the needs. Like a 1994 Nissan Maxima. What's the value? 25K?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing about it, is that when you're putting on cargo on a trailer, and you're covering even $250,000. I mean, you can't if you have a 7-car trailer and every car on this trailer is a new vehicle, and just say what's the basic price of a vehicle, $40,000. Well, you've got $280,000 on there. Unless it's a total loss, they're not going to pay $250,000. I mean,
right?
It's kind of redundant. It's a little bit
overkill.
It's overkill.
It is overkill.
I really do. I mean, yeah. If you do, I see something that says if you hit an overpass and you hit a convertible top,
right,
things of that nature. Well, yeah, that vehicle is going to be totaled. But what is it going to be totaled for? $60,000, $70,000? I mean, it's at that point. 70 grand compared to 250 grand. I mean, unless it's a total loss, you're not going to need $250,000. And the cost of 150 to 250,000 or 300,000 or any of that excess insurance, it's literally too much to overcome as a small company. If you've got a 3-car hauler out there, you do not need $250,000 unless you're just enclosed and you're putting Bentleys in there, and they're all high-end vehicles. I just don't. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't have any facts to prove it, but we've never had any claims or anything like that.
And there's always going to be an exception to the rule. But I know even as a dispatcher, if I book you a 2019 Escalade with all the packages and everything, I'm looking for the next car I'm looking for is like a 1976 MG. I mean, I don't want you loaded up with Porsche Macans and Hellcats.
Yeah, and you don't want Copart cars with parts falling off of it next to a 2018 vehicle. I mean, you got to be smart about how you book the loads, but
that's right.
Well, this could be a whole nother subject.
I know. Well, I told you I'd have you here all night.
I know.
And we're gonna wrap it up soon, but it's interesting. What we just talked about would actually benefit brokers if Copart Cars, IAA, TRA, Salvage was highlighted. Not only does that help the transporter, but it helps other brokers make sure that their brand new cars don't end up next to, triple axle junkers.
Right. And and that's the thing too, that you don't know who, as a broker, you would not know who's going to pick that up and what they've done before that. That's the relationship you build with different carriers, different brokers. It's a carrier-broker relationship, and that's
Yes.
a very important piece of this entire business.
And that it's cool you say that because it brings it back around. The thing is, I got this fancy graphic that says broker, deadbeat, and all this stuff, and I'm going to, get all kinds of hate mail. But the reality is, we do need to be in a relationship with each other. The carrier and the broker need to work together for the customer.
And for you, to make sure that you get paid. The whole idea is that they want to know that you're going to pick up their vehicle and treat their customer the way they need to be treated and deliver the vehicle on time. You need to know that you're going to get paid for the job. I mean, it's a relationship.
That's right.
Every single part of this is a broker-customer relationship. And when you start bouncing on the low board, it's hard to build that unless you just keep going the same routes with the same brokers over time. And then most of the time you don't need to go after their bonds or put negative rates.
That's right. So I encourage. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining the show, for chatting. I mean, we've had a great chat going on tonight. I also am hoping that people that have tuned in feel like we actually covered the topic, which I think we did. I mean, other than, we're not looking at actual paperwork. We're not talking to an actual broker, bond company agent, although, man, that would be a cool next show at some point. But if you understand the basics of the process, that if you can't get a broker to pay you, that if you follow these steps and contact the bond company and understand your rights, that you can actually get paid.
Yep. Contact the company, then negative rating, and then the bond. Then cross your fingers. That's the chain. So.
That's right.
All right.
Hey, you guys, I wanna thank you so much. This has been fun. We've talked before, but we've never done a live show like this, so it's really been awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great. Somebody's get up early and haul cars in the morning.
Yay!
So jump off here and
okay.
Just holler at me anytime.
Okay, man. Thank you guys. You have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right, we'll see you.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh man, that was awesome. I gotta say that I really like what's happening here with this auto transport ecosystem. The more I know and the more people I talk to, my knowledge just keeps on growing, and then I feel like I can, play some part in helping the community just keep building. The Facebook groups are great. And there's so many great phone calls that can be had. I say this, man, if you got a question, just pick up the phone. If you see a car you like, pick up the phone. If you want to ask a question to a broker, just pick up the phone. Talk to other transporters, get into Facebook, and of course, watch my videos, and always remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And here, let's go ahead and get out of, since we're out of the interview, let's go back to our main screen there. All right, so this is the end of the show, and I want to thank you guys for joining me again. Next week is, like I said, it's like a DOT officer. I don't know exactly yet, still waiting for the details, but we're going to talk about ELDs. We're going to talk about DOT, FMCSA, inspections, regulations. It's going to be crazy. And why are we doing that? Because April is right around the corner, and that is going to be the next level of this ELD, FMCSA mandate. I call it I want to say noose. All right, I got to go to my Kool-Aid. Oh, man. See, I was getting upset there. So we're going to do that next week. So make sure you take your ELD break with me. I'm Jay. I am the car hauling dispatcher. And you're watching Auto Transport Intel. And I'm going to fire up the car hauler. please go ahead and comment in the video if you have anything after the show. I love to see that in the video, but of course you can send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Take care.